Brothers and sisters, Brother John and
Brother Steve.
coming to you. I don't know what that dinging is, but coming to you live on a Zoom is what we're trying to do. And I'm going to bring you some information.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night.
Saturday night.
Oh, no, it's not. It's Wednesday.
It's
Thursday.
Thursday, so you can't even keep track of what it is. It's Thursday. Boy, and the time is flying, eh, Steve?
Time is flying. We're almost out of July here.
Did you ever think we'd be in July?
Oh, I didn't think so.
You know, the wheat harvest is almost finishing. The actual physical wheat harvest is until the 26th of July. So that's interesting. I mean, you know, we look at all these dates and hope for the best that the rapture will take us out of here already. Please, God, right? Take us out of here. But until then, we'll continue.
You've got all of these things that are showing about the fall, and why do we see all these things in the fall, and it doesn't mean anything, but let's see what it means here.
Well, do you want to look at some information that you sent me first? We can talk about that and then back our way up and see if we're closer than we think.
Yeah, we'll just
all right.
I think we need to investigate this and see what it means and why it's coming out now, and what it has to do with the second round of lockdowns, and who knows, you know, John? Who knows?
Let's do the screen share thing then. All right, here we go. We'll make this full screen. And do you want this one or do you want the other one first?
Yeah, let's do this the first one first. The
one I just had up?
Yeah.
All right. This one. That guy with the scary, look at that. That drives me crazy. Look at the size of that thing, man. That test.
Oh, man.
You know, I don't want to put that in my nose. I don't care if I, not doing it. All right, here we go.
So I shared a little bit about this yesterday. It just kind of was breaking news yesterday. Came out on the 22nd of July, and I did a messenger chat. I tried to catch John earlier live, catch him by surprise, but he wasn't around, and I got him later, and now we're here together on Zoom. And I just wanted to discuss this information about another election in Israel that's going to be taking place on November 18th. What do you think about this, John? Have you heard about this? Or
I haven't heard. I haven't heard nothing. You know, it's funny. I was paying attention for a while, but then now I've been with, you know, this. My life has been just practically probably everybody's life is now getting so. It seems to be we're being pressed or you know, pressure. Everything is happening, so we're struggling. The watchmen are struggling, brothers and sisters. We're all watching, but we're going through things. So, you know, it's our best effort to bring to you what we're seeing. So that's what we're doing. We're bringing to you what we're seeing, and I'll leave it in your hands for this bit. You seem like you know a little more about Netanyahu and what's going on here.
Well, anyway, this news came out yesterday. Netanyahu decides on November election, leveraging political chaos. Sources close to PM say he is convinced that ahead of the evidentiary stage of his corruption trial, a petition will be filed with the High Court to force him to declare he's unable to lead the country and attend legal proceedings. So basically, he's in a legal battle. He's going to have to go to court. And for him to be able to carry out his duties as prime minister is pretty much going to be impossible while attending to his lawyers and the court process. And so what does this mean? I mean, I'm wondering if this is almost like he's stepping down.
Well, something that's interesting is the rabbi, and it was in a breaking Israeli news article some time ago. when they were still without a government, and it was written, it was Kaduri, and then this other Rabbi Shushami or something like that. And he was talking about, it was talking about the three gates. It's like a prophetic thing, you know, about before Messiah would come, and that there would be three tries, so to speak. The gates were considered to be government. So it would be three tries, and then they would form, it would have something, but it wouldn't work. And then when the fourth time would come, that would be, you know, when Messiah would arrive. And what's interesting is that Rabbi Schneerson, back in like the 1990s, when Netanyahu was first in, he had met Rabbi Schneerson, who is the main guy, so to speak, of the Chabad organization, which has to do with all the Noahide laws and all kinds of stuff that way. But he told Netanyahu that he believed that Netanyahu would be in power, or hoped that he would be in power at the time to hand the keys over to the Messiah. So it's interesting on that kind of a thought, that if he's going to step down in any way, he would have to hand his keys over to this one that they're waiting for. So that in essence is a quite, you know, that's interesting.
Well, that sounds really amazing, considering the fact that November is going to be the fourth round of elections. I mean, you know, they've already done three. They thought they came to some type of an agreement on the third round.
Unity government. Right?
They came into an agreement, and even though Gantz knew that Netanyahu was going to be going through this court legal process, he allowed him to be the prime minister for the first 18 months of their agreement. So it was like a 3.5 year or 3 year agreement.
Right.
And it was a year and a half each. And he was giving the first year and a half to Netanyahu. But now it looks as though Netanyahu is kind of coming to the realization that he's not really going to be able to do a good job. He's not going to be able to carry out the government correctly, adequately, and on the best behalf of his country, maybe stepping down. I mean, what does this mean if he's going to be turning over the reins of the government and calling for a new election because he's not going to be able to carry out his function?
That's an interesting. It certainly is interesting. I pray that we're not here in November. We don't know. I mean, we're just looking. But should we look? Should we read some more of this, there, brother? Or you want to?
You want to go? Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and read?
Okay. All right. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu decided not to pass the budget for 2020 and to call a general election to take place on November 18th. Interesting. It's I think November 3rd this year is our election, so it's like 15 days apart, right? Mm-hmm. Political sources who spoke to the prime minister and people close to him said on Wednesday. So the political chaos Israel is witnessing is meant to prepare the public for the notion that it is impossible to go on like this. Interesting quote there. It is impossible to go on like this, thus justifying another election cycle in 2020. The sources said Israel held its recent election on March 2nd, the third within 1 year. Interesting. So the third, so there's the thing with that Rabbi Shishumi that was talking about the three gates and that they would both fall, or both, all three would fall. So this could mean that this is a working prophecy, even though it's a rabbinical prophecy. I mean, you know, we have a lot of different prophecies that even, you know, when we, you know what, Steve, we go back to Rabbi Judah ben Samuel, right? Think about his prophecy and about the last 10 Jubilees and how that ended. Supposedly 2017 would have been the last time of that. But what Judah ben Samuel was saying was 2017 would be the Messianic era. 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 Yeah. So it is. So, I mean, Trump was in power. I did videos not too long ago that talked about that, about how their civil new year changed in 2016 and Trump was voted in November. So it was between September and November that the Messianic era would have started in that 5777.
Yeah.
So that was another prophecy, all back pointing to other things, but basically it's another rabbinical prophecy of what yet future could happen. And this one Rabbi, I can't even pronounce his name, but Shushani, I guess, who was a friend of Kaduri's, said that there would be 3 gates, and those 3 gates would fall, and then the Messiah would come. So this is kind of like playing right into the time of Messiah showing up, their Messiah, not ours. Ours is waiting for us in the clouds, literally, probably even now, and just waiting for the Father to say, all right, go ahead, son, call him up. So we're getting ready to go, brothers and sisters, and you know that as well as I do there, Brother Stephen.
Yeah, and so as we're looking at this upcoming November,
yeah,
you know, and the 4th election,
yeah,
I know that to a lot of people, it seemed like I was really jumping the gun when I went from June 3rd, as I was watching the end of Pentecost.
You were jumping the gun.
But I had to share what I saw, and you know, it does nobody of service to keep anything to myself. So I saw the connection between the 2 American eclipses.
Yeah.
If you go to the middle date between the August 21st, 2017, which is right there, you know, the Kaduri, the Judah ben Samuel prophecy and the age of Messiah really starting in 2017. I mean, if that marked the beginning of the tribulations,
Mm-hmm.
even though we're still within this time frame, you know, is the first 3.5 years gonna take place after the rapture, or is there going to be the 3.5 years leading up to
right
the arrival of the Antichrist,
right.
mid-tribulation,
right.
and the rapture coinciding with the rise of the Antichrist, mid-tribulation?
Yeah, it's a way of looking at it, isn't it?
And then, because we do know that according to Revelation 5 times, it's confirmed that the reign of the Antichrist is 3.5 years, 1,260 days, 42 months.
Right.
Time times and half a time. So the reign of the Antichrist is only 3.5 years. Well, anyway, we have from 2017, right now we're coming up upon that 3-year marker. And between the 2 great American eclipses, December 14th is the midway point. There's another total solar eclipse on that day in Argentina. So from the first American eclipse to the last American eclipse and the middle date of the American eclipses, there's another American eclipse. There's 3 eclipses.
2024, April 8th, 2024.
Which is Nisan 1, which is on the biblical calendar, is the new year.
And brother, this is interesting. You might be interested in this. If you go back from April 8th, 2024, going back, counting backwards, 1,260 days brings you to October the 26th.
What day is that? Is that
October 2020? October 26th, 2020. From April 8th, if that was the, let's say that was the middle point, let's say, of the tribulation. Just saying, right? It could just be the last 3, whatever. But if we go back from that X marks the spot, 1,260 days, it puts us at October the 26th. If we go back 1,290, it puts us at September 26th.
Which is basically the Day of Atonement.
Right.
Right in there.
Well, Atonement is the 28th, but close
Yeah.
enough.
Close enough.
It's funny how it works. Okay, and then now we're looking at, just ahead of that. Say that we're raptured in September or October, November. What would happen after that is the question. But if things were like just all of a sudden, there's a lot going on now, so this is all part of thought. But Netanyahu would even maybe step down even then, and then the Antichrist, the Messiah shows up. Maybe he steps down earlier than even elections if the rapture would happen. See, that's
so we've got signs. I mean, starting September, they're talking about the incoming asteroids.
Yeah.
In September, right?
Yeah.
September, and then we've got October 26th marks 1,260 days from the end of the eclipses.
Yeah.
The middle date on the eclipses is December 14th. If you go the exact halfway point between the three eclipses, it's December 14th, another total solar eclipse. That's also Hanukkah. And then we're 7 days from the Great Conjunction, which is the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. And that could represent the great war in heaven between the one who devours the child and the man-child, Jupiter.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
And now we've got this information about November.
And
it's all kind of
culminating, isn't it? It's just culminating. It's getting compacted. Let's look at something else. All right. Now I've said this in my other videos, but this is important as far as looking ahead. And I'm not saying that we're going to be here then, but important to know. According to Gil Brizard, which he'll never say it like I'm going to say it, but I have to say it because this is where my whole heart is this way. The thing with Planet X and the crossing, right? When Planet X crosses, past the Earth, okay? When he first came out, he was talking about Passover, March or April of 2016. And there's a reason for that, for what he was saying. The reason he was saying that was because the moon, this is very important, doesn't take anything away from Scotty Clark and his Revelation 12 sign, because that Revelation 12 sign that Scotty Clark showed us was a daytime sign. So that's important to know. It was a daytime sign. It had to be seen on stellarium or whatever. You couldn't see it because the sun was out. Okay, if the sun wasn't out, we'd all see it. Okay, but it was a particular time, and it could have been seen at night as well as if you knew where to look and you could see it. But I'm just saying, it was a daytime sign. So what Gil Brizard professed back in 2016, he was saying, because that's Scotty Clark was talking about, it's going to happen 2017, all that, the Revelation 12 sign. We were all like, oh, yeah. And we weren't even listening to what Gil was saying. What he was saying was every year on Rosh Hashanah, the moon is under the foot of Virgo. Every single year for the last 6,000 years, it's always there on Rosh Hashanah, whenever Rosh Hashanah is in September, October. But the moon is under the foot of Virgo on Passover, and it happened that it was on that year that he was saying, promoting that Planet X is going to pass and this is all going to happen by the 2016, time, and nothing happened. But the moon was underneath the foot of Virgo. The next time from 2016 is now coming 2021. The moon will be under the foot of Virgo again, all right? That's the pin. That's the thing. Is the same as the idea is Israel being a nation for 70 years, and that's the generation, at least the start of it, right? It could go a few more years or whatever, but we know the generation is a 70 or 80 year, but it's shortened. But we know that Israel is right? We know that's a pinning point. So we know that by that we're in the last of last days. So we're 72 years with Israel. But this is the key. The moon under the foot of Virgo on Passover, March 28th, 2021, he's looking at that as being the fulfillment of the Revelation 12 sign. And here's how it works. First of all, the moon will not be under the foot of Virgo for another 93 years. That is so important. 93 more years before the moon is back underneath her foot on Passover. Because you know the moon's underneath the foot every year on Rosh Hashanah, but it's only rare that it's underneath the foot on Passover. So here's the thing, from what they're saying in general speaking, and the asteroids coming in and the lockdown of COVID and all the things that are working in the world right now is all because of what is coming. So the elites know they're going to go in their underground shelters. They're going to get everything's going to be set up by that time. So they have to do things. There's a schedule. So what Steve is bringing to the table today, Brother Steve, thank you. This is kind of interesting because it's another culminating point. Doesn't mean we'll be here in November, but we're watching just the same. And if we are, we'll know that he's about to step down, and we're watching what's going on in Israel, and that's what we're supposed to do. But if we're using that moon underneath the foot of Virgo as this, and let me just explain how this works. In Revelation 12, see, I've never really I've said it before, but I want to do this a little in depth. So you okay with that, brother? Bear with me a second.
Oh, go ahead, bro. Yeah.
All right.
Very interesting information.
So because look, a sign, Scotty Clark would always say that when you're going down the highway and you get to your exit, you don't just get to the exit, it tells you get off here. You always see a sign prior to the time. And even another sign, if it's a fast exit, you really get a couple of signs before you have to get off that exit. So his sign was an actual sign. What he gave us was incredible. And Steve and I were both on it. And the comet that went through the womb and the 9 months retrograded the king stuff. That was a sign. There's no doubt. But
I was going to ask, what's the day of the moon being under Virgo's feet?
March 28th to the 31st. If you go on Stellarium, according to Gil, he goes on Starry Night program. So he's been able to use that program to figure out, but we usually use Stellarium. So Stellarium's off a few days. So it's on Stellarium, it'd be between the 28th and the 30th or 31st, where the moon is under the foot of Virgo. And that happens to be Passover, at least the time of, okay? Are you still there? Did we lose? You still there, Stephen? We're freezing up. Stephen, just re-enter. I'm going to pause.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. All right. It just froze.
I don't see it. I don't see me out. Okay.
It's all right. It just froze up a little bit. All right. Let me continue here. So here's the operation. Here's what's going to happen. And it's very clear to see now that we've had the Revelation 12 sign as a sign of something coming to fulfill that sign. All right. So here it is. So it says, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman, we know this by heart already, and clothed with the sun. Now the sun is the way Gil Brizard talks about it. The sun in the Greek is called Helios. So it can mean our sun, or it can mean an illuminating body. That's important. An illuminating body lights, dress, or covers the illumination is seen in Virgo. So it's not our sun. So here's the thing. And the moon is under her feet. That's an important part. And she's got a crown of 12 stars on her head. Now, Scotty Clark used Leo and then the three planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, I think it was. But it's interesting to know that planet X has 7 moons. So it could be that 3 of its moons were underneath Leo, or at very least it comes in another format. Maybe there's 7 that we see with 2 other, of our own planets, whatever. You see, it all can work together. We don't know how, but we did see what we saw. And I'm not taking away from anything from what Scotty had bought. That was a God-given thing. But now that we have something that's going to define it is this, because we all looked for the red dragon, did we not, brother? We were all looking for it. We had Daniel Valez of Informed Christians. He was like trying to get the dragon's tail, and the whole percentage of the stars a third of the sun. We were doing with what we could with that to try to figure that out. But here's how it works. So the woman is clothed with an illuminating body. The moon is under her feet. That is the important key here, because the moon's not going to be under her feet again for 93 more years. So that's almost a pin. It's like, man, it's got to happen. Then it says, and she being with child, travailing in birth, pain to be delivered. Then we have verse 3. And there appeared at the same time now, as we're seeing this woman clothed with an illuminating body, there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon. And here's the thought, if I can use my hands to kind of give you the idea. You got your sun right here, the sun. And then around the back of the sun is this planet X or whatever, comes around the back, and when it comes around the back of the sun and it's heading towards Earth, what happens is when it gets close to the sun, it removes the photons from the sun, the light waves, turning the sun, our sun, black as sackcloth of hair, all right? And it, receiving those photons, lights up ruddily, okay? That's one of the words that's in the Egyptian cauldron. It ruddily is lit. It's going to be redly lit. So what we have is a black sun, a red dragon, get it? In the constellation of Virgo, with the moon under her foot, ruddily lit by this illuminated red dragon. It's showing up at the same time. See, it's taking the sun photons, it's lighting, but it's darkening the sun. So even if it's a daytime thing like Scotty's was, the sun gets darkened, therefore it becomes night on the sun side, nighttime. And what Gil Brizard has been talking about is because this comet planet, it's a planet, but it's a comet, but it's a planet. Is it a gum? Is it a candy? Razzles, remember those? It's a planet comet. It's huge. So, but what he's saying is, and he uses comet sighting spring, and we all remember that if we've been watching any kind of length of time, that when sighting spring went past Mars and Mars lit up like a candle. And what he's been saying is it's not ice and debris trailing this comet. It's a plasma discharge, or it's a plasma. And so it's charged, it's electrically charged. So what happens is that electrical charge will slow the Earth down to about 12 hours, a missing 12 hours. There's your half a day, by the way, for 2 witnesses, all right? Whatever that means, I'm not going into the 2 witnesses. But it slows the planet down to where now the debris is hitting a certain portion of the Earth, which of course Gil believes it's the United States and all this, okay? This side, the third of the Earth is this side, not Europe, because they got to go through more in the time of Jacob's trouble and all that. So that's the idea. So when this thing comes around the back of the sun, it draws the sun's photons, turning the sun to dark and the moon to blood, which is right below the foot of Virgo, meaning they also see the red dragon, which is that whatever comes around, planet X, whatever.
So Gil is saying that this is lining up together with the Passover sign?
Yeah, and that would be Passover, the 28th of March, according to their calendar, you know, give or take a day or whatever calendar they're using.
From the Revelation 12 sign, it's 1,282 days.
Oh, you figured that out?
42 months and 5 days.
That's almost 1290, bro.
We're right there.
That's almost 1290.
Yeah, we're right there between the 1260 and the 1290.
Oh, well, dig it. If it's holy moly.
But that would be, you know, like okay, you're saying okay, this is a signpost of what's coming.
Yeah.
And would we need to wait until Passover? We're hoping we don't need to wait to Passover.
No, I don't believe we'll be here. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot more coming before March of 2021. We're not even jumping. No way am I jumping to there. But I'm saying using that as something that the elites will know. They'll know, look, the guys with the large binocular telescopes, the Lucifer, all these different things, they know. We know that. We know that they know. And they can't save us all. All we're waiting for is the saving of our Lord Jesus to be taken out before things in this earth get wicked and crazy. And that's the ball of wax right there.
So, I mean, yeah, we got things lining up here for the fall, whether it's September and the timing of trumpets,
Yeah.
or October, which marks 1,290 days before the end of the revelation, or the second Great American Eclipse.
Yeah.
We've got the November signs between our election, Israel's election, and then the other thing I've been sharing about is like November 29th, which is the anniversary of the Palestinian partition plan.
Right.
There's another lunar eclipse on that day. Before the December 14th total solar eclipse, there's a penumbral lunar eclipse on the 29th. That's the anniversary of Israel's partition plan. On that day, there's also one of the largest asteroids of 2020. It's a 90,000 mile per hour asteroid, and it's the largest asteroid of 2020 near Earth object.
When is that?
So,
when,
November
brother?
29th. November 29th.
November 29th?
That's the day.
That's 1947, November 29th. What's that?
So that's an anniversary of Israel. 2 weeks before the December 14th total solar eclipse on Hanukkah, which is the halfway point between the two great American eclipses. And so I see everything culminating, whether things begin to happen in September, and
it can begin to happen before then.
Yeah,
this is all our hope. Our hope is to be raptured today.
I don't see March
next day, but we're watching to see.
I don't see March of 2021.
I don't either.
But I don't see it happening like probably before November or December either. So, yeah. I mean, I'm really focusing on November and December.
Look each day. I'll look each day and pray that it happens, because we need to go. But these signs with Israel, there's something going on in November. Yeah,
definitely something going on in November. We need to keep watching. So we're trying to put the pieces together. We got stuff going on in September, October. There's a lot of details happening in November.
And the 21st is the conjunction of December. 21st of December is conjunction with Saturn and Jupiter. Is that might be like a war? That might be a sign of war in heaven or something.
Well, yeah, and then it's the exact day of the end of the world according to the Mayans, and 2012 is actually 2020.
They said they were wrong, right? The Mayan elders were talking about they were wrong, and it was 8 years off, and there you go. 8 years is 21 December. And it's crazy, right? All this stuff is, brothers and sisters, ultimately, between Stephen and myself, we're just brothers in the Lord. We're just waiting on that day, that glorious, wonderful day when Steve and I will have a drink of new wine together. We always tease each other, because it's like, we have no idea what it's going to be like. It's going to be beyond joy, beyond love, beyond anything you can imagine on this earth as far as great, enjoyable, comfortable, peaceful feeling. We have no idea, but it's going to be so much of a blessing, and it's eternity. When this happens, when what we've been talking about for years now actually takes place, whenever it happens, it's going to be our eternity. That starts our eternity. You think about that. The day that we're raptured, never again will it be, normal. Not ever.
2020 is the year of deliverance. So I sure hope we're out of here before the new year.
Amen.
I really do. I'm very hopeful.
Do you want to go? Do you want to show the last? We got like a couple more minutes, I think. Well, we could show that last. Do you want to do that again? Show that other?
Just show that other article that we looked at.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, I'll go back to this one. There it is. That's the article. You want to read this?
Sure.
All right, let me roll it up a little bit.
Oh, it was written on the day of my sign, December 12th. Nice. Okay, Israel heading to third round of elections, just as prophesied by mystic Rabbi. After that, I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. A bill to dissolve Israel's 22nd Knesset and set a new date for elections has been passed by lawmakers on Wednesday. Since a coalition deal was not inked by midnight, the country will head into an unprecedented third round of national elections within a one-year period. Although this phenomenon is unprecedented in Israel, it was actually predicted by the most prominent Kabbalist of this generation, Rabbi Yitzhak Kaduri, 40 years ago.
Wow, that's something. 40 years, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The saga begins 40 years ago when a man named Rabbi Eliyahu Merav was searching for his path to serve God. Rabbi Merav frequented the court of Rabbi Yitzhak Kaduri, a rabbi and Kabbalist from Baghdad noted for his utter devotion. Many people, I'll just add a note here. Many people overlook this information from Yitzhak Kaduri because they say, well, he's a Kabbalist and a rabbi, but he was the rabbi that found Messiah and brought to us the understanding, and to Israel the understanding that their Messiah was Jesus, Yeshua.
Yeah.
So for a rabbi to be in such a great standing in Israel and to be one that brought forth the true understanding of the Christian Messiah to the Jews, that's something that people should not take lightly.
Right, not lightly.
And they shouldn't discard this type of information.
He was 108, wasn't he? 108 years old when he died?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Very old. Not many people get to be that old.
It is very important to understand such things in context, Rabbi Merav told Breaking Israel News. Rabbi Kaduri spoke very little, so it was very important to understand precisely what he intended. One day he was taking questions, and someone asked when the Messiah would arrive and whether there were signs that would precede his arrival. The rabbi answered, when there will be elections, but there will not be a government.
We've been through that.
And it goes on to say, it seemed contradictory, Rabbi Merav said. How could there be elections but no government? If there are elections, there will be a government. That is simply the way things work. No one understood him at the time, but this is really how it is with prophecy. You don't understand it until it happens. The statements by Kaduri also reference excerpts from the prophet of Egypt, Rabbi Shoshani,
Shoshani,
the one you mentioned earlier, who said, there will come a day that two ministers win the government in the land of Israel. Both their names will be Benjamin, Benny Gantz and Benjamin Netanyahu, and neither of them will succeed in establishing their government or kingship. On that day, no one understands that the King Messiah already stands at the doorway, and afterward he will come and be revealed. Shoshani's statement continues, understand this and remember it. Okay, and so
afterward, after the two Benjamins, one moves out of the way. And that's tying it in.
And so we're coming up here now to the fourth election process. And basically from the third election in March, which was right around the time of the spring and the Passover, and, the door was opened.
That's right.
And now we're in this time leading up to November.
Yeah.
I mean, the door is open at any time, right? At any time. And yet we say we have another election that's going to happen. When will that happen? Where will we be?
Right.
When do we leave?
Right. If we're here or not. See, this is just, and I just want to make a note, because we might not be here for any of this. We could be out of here in September. We could be out of here tomorrow, to next day, to August sometime. We're close. That's the truth is we're so close. And it tells us no man knows the day of the hour. We're all trying to figure out when's the day, when's the hour. No man knows the day of the hour. That kind of gives us it could be any time. So what we're seeing is we're just bringing the thought together so that if we are here, we're here. There's nothing we're going to do about it. but at least we know what's coming, and we have that. That brings us to a as we get closer, I think we're going to know. You know, that's what I'm thinking. We're going to know. It's just we have to get to that day where we're going to know. And maybe it'll be that same day. Who knows?
Well, we're not going to get caught sleeping, right, John?
There you go. That's the bottom line.
No, we're watchmen. We're going to stand on that wall and keep trying to understand and sharing what we see. And, we're not going to be caught sleeping.
You want to continue any of this, or is that enough?
That's enough. I mean, we can leave the links for the people, and if they want to read more, they can. I mean, the understanding is here now that for some reason they're planning another election in Israel.
All right.
It's like this process is never ending.
Yeah.
They're trying to elect their new Messiah.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been ready yet. Maybe they're planning to present him now on this another,
Yeah.
Now that all the people are asleep with the coronavirus, they can present him and nobody will even know what's going on.
Yeah. And put a new guy in suppose the new guy that comes in, will we even see that? See if Netanyahu is going to step down, don't they have to have like a election, for someone else? It could be that's the way they're going to bring him in. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. And the article did say that if they're not able to hold another election because of the coronavirus outbreak, Netanyahu will stay in power. So that one out of the first article we shared was saying something about that. So we didn't read that, but that we can leave the links for the people that want to read those more. And we just wanted to do a chat here, and lots going on, huh, brother?
There it is, for sure. I think we'll leave it at that. You want me to give the blast on the shofar?
Give the blast. I don't know. I don't think I've ever had one personally.
Take your earbuds off. I don't want to blow your eardrum.
Well, hey. All right, bro.
All right, my brother. So we'll end it. God bless you all for watching, and we'll see you again. Both Brother Stephen and I out.
Brother John and Brother Steve out.
All right. I think I got it. Wait.